Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bong Enriquez, and welcome to my beautiful Bulacan. Over the past few years, the My City, My SM series has showcased the different facets of Bulacan's rich culture, its tourist attractions, its cuisine, and most recently, its artisan crafts. Today, our cultural journey takes us to another exciting route as we will celebrate Bulacan's vibrant visual arts scene as My City, My SM, My Art makes a stop at SM City, Baliwag. Bulacan's artistic tradition has its roots in Spanish colonial times and the rise of the ilustrados or enlightened and educated ones in the 19th century. With the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869 and the development of the agricultural export economy, native Indios, as they were called, acquired economic wealth and became what has to be known as ilustrados. This development paved the way for Filipino ilustrados to send their children to universities in Europe, like the families of Bulakenyos, Marcelo H. Del Pilar, and Mariano Ponce. With that, the Europe-based ilustrados like Juan Luna and Felix Resurrección Hidalgo became world-class artists, while others became the new patrons of the arts. The opening of the Suez Canal also made paints available in the Philippines. In the early 19th century, the rise of the ilustrados also saw a rise in the art of portraiture. The need to adorn their newly constructed bahay na bato and to document their newfound wealth and social status prompted ilustrados to commission painters to make portraits of themselves. The work of artists like Simon Flores, Antonio Malantic, and Justiniano Asuncion captured minute details, intricately designed jewelry, exquisitely embroidered clothes, and ornately designed furnitures in their portraits, characterizing minaturismo or miniaturist style. Other popular subject matters during that time included landscapes or paisajes, or bodegones or still life. While the Ilustrado period has long come to an end, the spirit of the times lives on in Bulakenyos, who continue to value education and the pursuit of intellectual and artistic interests. Today, the province has national artists in almost every field: music, theater, film, dance, the visual arts, literature, and sculpture. And a new generation of artists is giving Bulacan more reasons to be proud of its rich cultural heritage. We will discover Bulacan's glorious artistic past and vibrant contemporary art scene in this special edition of My City, My SM, My Art at SM City, Baliwag. A joint project of SM, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, Shell Philippines, the Philippine Star, with support from the National Commission on Culture and the Arts, and Center Stage Productions. My City, My SM, My Art is a celebration of Philippine visual arts, painting, sculpture, printmaking, photography, and filmmaking. We are bringing art and people together by showcasing the works of masters, modernists, and millennials in a road show around SM supermalls. Advocating art for all, We are working with communities to mount exhibits, workshops, and contests in key cities around the Philippines. Danny Pangan, an artist known for his three-dimensional paintings, has a substantial body of work both in painting and sculpture. Mr. Pangan's unique style, which merges art and technology, was influenced by his academic background. He took advertising at the University of the East School of Music and Art in 1978 and comprehensive desktop publishing at the Ateneo de Manila Computer Technology Center in 1973. With these skills and talents, he has been visualized graphic designer and art director.
So nagpunta kami sa Shell's Shrine at nakita ko yung bintana nila ron na naka-3D palubog na gano'n. So nakita ko ang subject doon, yung tore ng nakita. So na-obsess ako doon. Yun ang ginawa ko doon, nagsimula yung 3D painting ko.
As a visual artist, he was named as the exponent of three-dimensional painting, depicting history and nostalgia in his innovative art form. Among his patrons are Philippine president, politicians, and members of the elite.
Ang greatest contribution ko is ito nga, yung pag-create ko ng three-dimensional na painting na ito na nakikita nila sa akin na kahit malayo, hindi nila makita yung firma ko. At first glance, alam nila na sa akin yung painting.
Just like the Ilustrados of yore, today's Bulakenyo artists have brought much honor to our country through their critically acclaimed exhibits abroad. We will meet one such artist when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Salvador J. Ching had his first exposure to international exhibition during his college days as one of the 5 Philippine representatives to the 3rd ASEAN Youth Painting Workshop and Exhibitions in Indonesia. Since that time, the Malolos-born visual, installation, and performance artist has graduated from a degree in Fine Arts major in painting at the University of Santo Tomas and has participated in the Asian Biennale Art Exhibition in Havana, Cuba. Ching has likewise exhibited his works in Bangladesh, Seoul, Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Taiwan, and New York, USA. He has likewise received numerous awards and citations in major art competitions in the country. For years, his artistic vision has revolved around men and women dressed in traditional garb, but enclosed in a flurry of expressionistic colors. His images are at home in a tradition and modernity, in the constancy of geography, and in the flux of history.
Sabi yun ang pag nakita mo yung pyesa, ito yung artist niyan. Pero kasi ako multimedia ako eh. So, multimedia, it means I'll do sculptures, mixed media, painting, no, installation art, I'll do performance art din, no. So na kailangan may statement. Yun yung mga makikita doon na sa ano ko, sa painting ko. Sa totoo lang, wala namang original eh. Lahat tayo na impluwensyahan at naka-impluwensya. So siguro itong mga kabataan na to, dapat may disiplina rin. Disiplina, meron kang disiplina, meron kang limitasyon. Importante yung mood tsaka yung feelings. No? Kaya laging sinasabi ko, hindi naman importante na ikaw ay sikat. Importante yung gumagawa ka. Siguro to follow na yun. Kumbaga sana bonus yun. No? Kaya yung lagi kong sinasabi, yung aking art statement, walang dulo ang konsepto at walang katapusan ng sining.
Bulakenyo artists continue to amaze us on how multi-talented they are. Just as Buddy Ching has made a formidable name as a visual, installation, and performing artist, we will meet another one who has created excitement in both drafting and painting talents when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Jason Cortez approaches motifs in a hyper-realist manner, an aesthetic that evokes contemporary painter Geraldine Javier. His works, however, are more nuanced, softer, and easier to approach. He is particularly attracted to monochrome tones, particularly sepia, which he finds very classic. The use of sepia is also a very warm approach to a painting palette that is often contrasted to the older gray. Through this, Cortez tries to tap into the concept of agelessness or the undying. Cortez, who studied in Bulacan State University, is well known in the art community for possessing great techniques in both drafting and painting. Elevating his practice, however, requires a deeper and more conceptual approach, which he has found to recurring motifs. He has been a finalist in many important awards, including the Metrobank Art and Design Excellence Awards, the Philippine Arts Awards, and the Shell National Student Art Competition.
Siguro nagsimula kasi yung curiosity tapos naging obsession sa figurative. Kasi mas parang ang sarap gawin, yung emotion, kahit yung kamay lang gawin mo, may emotion ka nang makikita, i-close mo lang yung grip, may galit na, i-relax mo, may iwaring meaning. So, yun naman, na something na natutunan ko lang din sa mentor ko, si Welbart. Tapos, hanggang sa na-adapt ko na, later on, sarili kong mga idea, yun na yung more on na ginagawa ko. Priority, mas ma-develop ko pa yung artistic career ko, mag-evolve pa yung artwork ko, mas mapaganda ko pa sa tingin ko. And marami pa kasi pwedeng matutunan sa tingin ko, marami pa akong kulang na gusto kong maidagdag sa paggawa ng artwork. Yung mga yun na pwede ko rin makita rito or sa labas, yun yung mga pinagpaplanuhan ko na magawa ko, na makaikot pa, makakita pa ng mas maraming inspiration. Kasi ang lawak ng art scene, hindi lang sa Pilipinas. Kumbaga, yung playground mo, dapat yung buong mundo na talaga.
Bulacan's young artists continue to surprise us with their innovative approach to their craft. We will meet one on how he combines surrealism and fairy tales when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Froilan Labis Calayag is recognized as the prince of dark fairy tales and is well known for his surrealist, cartoon-like figures and creatures in his works, presenting them with often colorful and playful settings. His animated yet bizarre massive paintings simply captivate and attract not only adults but also young people as well. Pombong-based Calayag earned his Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, major in advertising, from the Technological Institute of the Philippines. And he has brought much honor to his province by winning the grand prize in the 37th Shell National Students Art Competition in 2004. He was also a semi-finalist in the 2004 Devois Art Competition and became the featured artist in the Art and Crafts store during the same year. Believing that art should have a heart, he began doing art missionary work for the St. Vincent Foundation in Quezon City from 2004 to 2006. Froilan has participated in quite a number of collaborations and exhibits both in the Philippines and abroad, including 7 solo exhibitions.
Maybe it comes out na lang lumabas na lang siya ng pusa. Siguro, nagsimula yun nung bata ako. I still draw animals, drawing ako ng mga cartoons. And then, the magical thing is, hanggang tumatanda na ako, I found out na dala ko pa rin yung mga bagay na yun. And then, suddenly, ganyan lumalabas. Andyan pa rin sila. Andyan pa rin. Siguro, it is the remains of my childhood. That's my version of life. Diyan ko nakikita yung truth ng buhay. Yung reality. Diyan nabubuhay yung reality ko. As a dreamlike pieces. It is start like pagmumula sa nothing hanggang sa mabuo na siya ng isang mundo. Mabuo na siya ng isang scene. Scene na ako lang yung nakakapunta. Ako lang yung nakakarating.
Bulakenyo artists are so talented. We will learn from a young couple from Hagunoy how to celebrate life, love, and art when my city, my SM, my art returns. In 2013, Kiko Marquez won the grand prize in the oil acrylic category in the prestigious Shell National Students Art Competition for his work, Natalo Ako. Quite an ironic title for a winning piece. And since that time, Kiko, who views art as self-expression and as a way to communicate with others, has been winning the hearts of art lovers with his work.
Ang art naman kasi, wala naman siyang pinipili na kung ano yung papanigan niya. Basta gumawa ka, kahit anong kalabasan ng panindigan mo na art yung ginawa, art niya.
Kiko shares his passion for the arts with his wife, Ina Baltero Marquez, who is a freelance artist. Ina, who studied at the Bulacan State University, is known for her figurative works in oil.
Since 2016 po kasi nag-search po ako sa art kung alin po yung pwedeng dinagdag. Then nakita ko po na may nagtatahi. Dinagdag ko po yung pagiging artist, tapos pinagsama ko po yung oil painting and labay on canvas.
The young couple believes that art is not only for themselves, but for everyone. We have seen how Bulakenyo artists have distinguished themselves in many fields. Painting, sculpture, even performance and installation art. We will meet one of the master printmakers from Hagunoy when my city, my SM, my art returns. Filimon Phil de la Cruz is a National Artist nominee, visual artist, and a master printmaker who specializes in mezzotint prints. It is a printmaking process that achieves in producing halftones without the use of line or dot-based techniques such as hatching, stippling, or pointillism. His works are known to be rich in ethnic imageries and indigenous symbols. De la Cruz is best known for his Diwata series inspired by Gunsal Malayo, the young woman from Bilaan tribe in Sultan Kudarat in the late 70s and 80s.
Si Gunsal Malayo ay isang tunay na tao. Natira ako sa Mindanao, sa isang liblib na lugar sa Mindanao upang maging part ng aking research sa paghalungkat ko sa kung ano ba yung talagang Filipino art. During the 70s, part ako ng generation ng mga artists na hinahanap yung ating identity as a Filipino. At si Gunsal Malayo ay namit ko sa Mindanao at siya yung naging inspirasyon ko. At later on, naging symbol ng aking diwata. Ang diwata ay nagkaroon ng maraming series at si Gunsal Malayo ang kabuuan ng katauhan ng diwata na ginagawa ko for the past so many years.
Born in Hagunay, Bulacan, De la Cruz was trained at the University of Santo Tomas, the cradle of modernism in the Philippines. He went to New York to be part of the Art Students League in 1983 and in 1992 attended lithography workshop in Paris, France to study printmaking techniques. A former president of the Philippine Association of the Printmakers, his works have been exhibited in France, New York, New Jersey, Czechoslovakia, Germany, China, Hong Kong, Korea, Spain, Belgium, and of course, in the Philippines. For his work, De la Cruz has received numerous awards, including CCP's prestigious 13 Artist Awards and UST's Benavides Award for Outstanding Achievement.
Always in love, no? Always in love, not with the opposite sex, but in love with what you're doing. Be passionate about it. Gawing kasiyasiya para sa'yo, maligaya ka sa ginagawa mo. Yun yung sikreto ng tagumpay. Walang shortcut sa art making. Ang proseso ay it's a long and tedious process. Nakakainip, mitikuloso, wala dapat na shortcut, walang tinatawag na good enough. Pag merong attitude ng good enough, you cannot gain mastery of your craft at hilaw ang trabaho. So, ang payo ko ay lagi kang dapat ay passionate para hindi ka mainip kasi ang dapat na proseso na i-enjoy mo ay yung mahabang paglalakbay, hindi yung destination ng paglalakbay ang iyong i-enjoy.
Art is memory and history. It is history, meant not only to be remembered, but also to be experienced and creatively imagined. We will learn more about the life and times of national artist Guillermo Tolentino when My City, My SM, My Art returns. The late national artist Guillermo Tolentino masterpieces are not only great sculptures, but also iconic representation of the Filipino soul. The famous Bonifacio Monument at the intersection of EDSA and Rizal Avenue is an enduring symbol of the Filipinos' cry for freedom, while the UP Oblation signifies academic freedom. Tolentino's other monumental works include bronze figures of President Quezon at Quezon Memorial, life-size busts of Jose Rizal at UE and UP, and the marble statue of Ramon Magsaysay at the GSIS building. He also designed the bronze medals of the Ramon Magsaysay Award and the seal of the Republic of the Philippines. Guillermo Estrella Tolentino was born in Malolos, Bulacan on July 24, 1890. It was Mrs. Ha Bordner, his 5th to 6th grade teacher at the Malolos Intermediate School, however, who gave him his first instructions in drawing. Tolentino's love for art brought him to Manila, where he attended the School of Fine Arts in the University of the Philippines under Vicente Rivera for painting, and later for sculpture under Vicente Francisco. In 1919, he decided to go to America, where he worked as a waiter in Washington, D.C. Inspired by President Woodrow Wilson's work for peace, he created a small statue symbolizing peace, hoping someday he may be able to present it to the president. It was not long before Tolentino secured an audience with President Wilson at the White House in what can be considered a turning point in his career. Today, the statue showing a young woman leading a small child, personifying the US and the Philippines, with the inscription Pax on the pedestal, sits on the fireplace mantel in Wilson's bedroom at the Woodrow Wilson House in Washington, D.C. Later, millionaire Bernard Baruch saw his peace statue and offered him a scholarship at the École des Beaux-Arts, where he enrolled for advanced courses in sculpture. After graduating with honors at the École des Beaux-Arts, Tolentino traveled to Europe and studied at the Regay Istituto Superiore di Belle Arti di Roma. Tolentino returned home in 1923 and opened his own studio in Manila. Tolentino received numerous awards and citations during his lifetime, including the UNESCO Cultural Award for Sculpture in 1959, the Araw ng Maynila Award for Sculpture in 1963, the Republic Cultural Heritage Award in 1967, the Diwa ng Lahi Award in 1972, and the President's Medal of Merit in 1973. Also, in 1973, he was named National Artist for Sculpture. Today, we are honored to have his daughter, Miss Daisy Tolentino Mendez, with us to give us a rare glimpse of a great man and a great artist.
My father, as an artist, was an artist in the true sense of the word. He was eccentric, but in a way that he will not work if he's not in the mood. Sometimes it takes him months or years to start working. I never knew he was that famous. When we were children, he was sculpting, and sometimes he does other things, but not mainly sculpting. But I never knew he was famous until people would say, and when we were older, and I was already married when I realized how important he was in government. In the monument, when you see the sculptures up close, it's not possible to see up close because it's too high. But there was a time after the end of a movie, they will put the monument at the end of the movie and moving picture, no? Then you'll see each character. Parang it's alive. As Ambet says, he does something with the eyes, with the stroke of an instrument. It looks like it's looking at you. And it's a cold stone, but it's as if it's going to speak. It looks real. And he's the only one who can capture that.
This afternoon's episode has given us the opportunity to learn more and celebrate the works of Bulacan's very talented visual artists. We would like to thank Miss Daisy Tolentino Mendez for very generously sharing with us the amazing art and life of our father, national artist Guillermo Tolentino. Our thanks also to Mr. Danilo Pangan, Buddy Chin, Jason Cortez, Froilan Calayag, Kiko Marquez, Ina Baltero, and to Mr. Filimon de la Cruz himself for sharing their wonderful works with us. In behalf of SM, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, NCCA, Shell Philippines, Center Stage Productions, and the Philippine Star, we wish to thank you for joining us in My City, My SM, My Art. Join us in our next episode when My City, My SM, My Art makes a stop at SM City, Olongapo.
Welcome to my Bulacan, the culture capital of the Philippines.
Art is the most expressive of human feeling.
Whatever we would like to convey through creative expressions.
Art is creativity. Art is bringing out your soul.
Art is how you see life, no matter how difficult, no matter how harsh, no matter how dark, that's art.
Art for me is actually the expression of one's soul.
The young generation now really needs this kind of art, reaching out to them, like what we have been doing with SM through the screening of my films at different malls. We are showing a different kind of Philippines. We are showing the real Filipinos, the real Philippines, through the eyes of the young generation. It's important that they will know, that they should know what this society is composed of from different classes.
The Philippine Star is very excited once again to partner with SM with the latest series of its community projects, My City, My SM, My Art.
The Met has been very proud of being able to bring art and culture and all these revelations about consciousness of life and the world we live in with the very dynamic creative expressions and forms. What is really great about My City, My SM, and My Art is that the Met and all the partners would be able to work on artist and community-centered activities, and I think that's a very great idea.
Bringing art and people together enables people to be in touch with their self and also be proud of the culture. No? It's very important for our people to be proud of the culture that they have. I'm very, very pleased and thankful to SM for this initiative.
I congratulate the management of SM for launching this program called My City, My SM, My Art. And the NCCA, the National Commission for Culture and Arts, will always collaborate, will always support this kind of project that will not only promote the arts of the Filipinos, but will empower our people in the process of creating art and making art available to everybody, bringing art and people together.
Good afternoon. I am Suzanne Kalumayalim and welcome to my Bulacan, the culture capital of the Philippines. Over the past few years, the My City, My SM series has showcased the different facets of Bulacan's rich culture, its tourist attractions, its cuisine, and most recently, its artisan crafts. Today, our cultural journey takes us to another exciting route where we will explore and discover Bulacan's visual arts and the country's top visual artists in this special episode of My City, My SM, My Art at SM City, Marilao. The province of Bulacan takes pride in its rich historical and cultural heritage as the birthplace of the first constitutional democracy in Asia, the cradle of noble heroes like Marcelo H. del Pilar and Gregorio del Pilar, and the home to many national artists like Francisco Baltazar, Nicanor Abelardo, and Guillermo Tolentino. The mixing of indigenous traditions with Chinese and Spanish influences has influenced Bulacan's culture. Early in the 19th century, with the opening of the Suez Canal and the development of the agricultural export economy, native Filipinos acquired economic wealth and became ilustrados, meaning enlightened and educated. The rise of the ilustrado class was inevitable, and they were able to send their children to universities in Europe where they were exposed to arts. The ilustrados, some of the best known are Bulakenyo heroes like Marcelo H. del Pilar and Mariano Ponce, and of course, Dr. Jose Rizal, learned to appreciate the arts and at times became the new patrons of the arts. Today, the arts continue to flourish in Bulacan through a new generation of artists, which we will discover as My City, My SM, My Art makes a stop at SM City, Manila. A joint project of SM, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, Shell Philippines, the Philippine Star with support from the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, and the Center Stage Productions. My City, My SM, My Art is a celebration of Philippine visual arts, painting, sculpture, printmaking, photography, and filmmaking. We are bringing art and people together by showcasing the works of masters, modernists, and millennials in a roadshow around SM supermalls. Advocating art for all, we're working with communities to mount exhibits, workshops, and contests in key cities around the Philippines. Bulakenyos are highly skilled in arts and crafts like exquisite jewelry from Kawayan, singkaban bamboo arcs that adorn churches and streets during fiestas, and of course, making cat pastillas wrappers in San Miguel. Mexico's papel picado or China's Janzi may have influences and similarities with the paper cutouts of Bulacan. But the late Nanay Luz Ocampo has transformed it into an art form that has made Bulakenyos proud. Nanay Luz Ocampo wrapped pastillas with the paper cutout to make the Bulacan sweet treat truly multi-sensory. Since then, the craft of making pastillas paper wrapper never waned and continues to inspire young artists like Ebony Pagya Hermogenes. Paper is perhaps one of the most common art mediums. You can make marks on it, you can fold it into fantastic shapes, you can dye it, you can make paper mache with it, and you can cut it. The possibilities are endless. But when it comes to creating art with paper, Ebony Pagya Hermogenes is in league of her own. Ebony Pagya Hermogenes took up photography at the College of St. Benilde and interior design at the University of Santo Tomas. She started working with paper in 2013. And today, with her rare talent, technique, and imagination, her artworks range from perfect geometric patterns to intricate, detailed storyscapes. The simplicity of the tools she uses belie the delicacy of her work. Ebony uses an X-Acto knife to cut out fragile, lace-like designs out of single sheets of paper. Her works have a surrealist quality to them and unfathomable detail, so much so that the viewer can stare and examine while Ebony tells them a story with the paper-cut details. Each piece can take thousands of tiny cuts, with Ebony working for hours on end to perfect each piece of art.
I took up interior design in UST and photography in St. Benilde. Then I decided to shift to paper cutting because I never knew na I'm really good at this. Iba-ibang artists, from my brother, then sa sister ko, they're both artists. Tapos kay Nanay Luz, which is siya yung isa sa mga tao na nag-popularize ng paper cutting. And of course, sa ibang painters, specifically kay Monet, yun. Kasi ma-detail din yung mga gawa niya. Saka si Gustav Klimt, yun. Sila yung mga inspirations ko. For me, ang gusto ko, syempre, ma-encourage din sila sa paper cut. Especially yung mga next generation. I love to challenge myself to make intricate pieces, more detailed. And paper cutting exercises my patience. It really encouraged me to be more creative and to be more unique than other artists.
We meet other young Bulakenyo artists who are creating a lot of excitement in the local art scene when My City, My SM, My Art returns. In 1951, Pilipinas Shell launched a search for an artwork in a simple calendar. Unknowingly, it had laid down the groundwork for what was to become one of the most anticipated and enduring pursuits for artistic talent in the Philippines. Since that time, the annual Shell National Students Art Competition has always sought to inspire the youth to tap into their artistic potentials and to enable them to take an active role in shaping society. Past Shell NSAC winners include 4 national artists, Jose Hoya, Benedicto Bencab Cabrera, Ang Cucoc, and Federico Aguilar Alcoaz. Now, on its 49th year, the prestigious competition has continuously raised the bar to mold young talent into change makers of tomorrow. Among these are Bulakenyos Romel Yao Sampana and Francis Eugene Andrade. Romel Sampana or Yao won 2nd place in the prestigious Shell National Art Competition in 2007 and has since won several national art competitions. Mixing portraits and figurative realism with a surreal texture, as well as dripping of splatter pigments, Romel Sampana's works are influenced by robotic characters from funny comics, the famous manga of his generation that unconsciously cultivated his natural talent.
Nung bata ako, yung lola ko, nagtitinda siya ng comics noon. Lagi kong binabasa yun, lagi kong tinitignan. Doon ako nahilig mag-drawing. Doon ako nagsimulang mahilig sa art. Nung college, patok na patok doon yung figurative nung time na yon. Trinay ko na mag-figurative. Tapos, imbis na pure realism lang na figures, na portraits, nahaluan ko siya ng stylized texture. Yung mga tema ko naman, medyo hinahaluan ko ng surrealism. So, depende sa, kumbaga, minsan galing sa panaginip, minsan naman sa mga experience o music, kanta, pero pinalalabas ko siya na medyo surreal. As an artist, kailangan mo mag-evolve. Yun, kasi kailangan, kumbaga, tuloy-tuloy na natututo ka. Bukod doon, gusto ko rin yung magkaroon ng mga pyesa sa museum. As an artist, sa mga pintor, parang medal mo yon kapag yung isang pyesa mo naka-display na talaga sa museum. Permanent display sa museum. Yeah.
A full-fledged visual artist today, Yao Sampana recently launched his first solo exhibit entitled Half-Remembered Dream. He was also a part of mural project for Kobe Bryant that Nike Philippines commissioned for the Manila Mentality Tour last June 25, 2016. Francis Eugene Andrade of the Bulacan State University won the grand prize for his 24 by 26-inch oil on canvas painting in the 47th Shell National Art Competition last 2014. His entry was a timely masterpiece painted deftly and realistically. Francis Andrade's winning piece, Ipinagkait na Kalayaan, symbolizes freedom depicted by a cluster of paintbrushes wrapped in plastic and placed on the ground. It is a timely masterpiece as the nation marks the anniversary of the proclamation of martial law and the life of a struggling artist.
Yung entry ko po sa Shell National Art Competition, bali tungkol siya sa struggle ng family ko. Tapos sa akin na rin bilang artist, kung kumbaga yun yung kalayaan ko na magpinta, i-express yung feelings ko, tsaka yung mga nasa paligid ko, tapos nililibing na brush ko, pinagkakait na kalayaan. Tapos timely celebration siya ng proclamation ng martial law. Gusto kong maalala sa akin ng tao yung bang hindi lahat, nung pag nakita nila yung piyesa ko na hindi porket nakalibing siya, negative siya kaagad. Kumbaga, hindi naman lahat ng nililibing negative. Kumbaga, yun pa lang yung umpisa mo para sa panibago. Pag nag-iisip ako ng concept para sa gagawin kong piyesa, ang iniisip ko kung ano ba yung nangyayari sa buhay ko ngayon, ano yung past, ano yung mga masaya nangyayari. Tapos ginagawa ko yun na kahit negative siya, alam ko makaka-relate yung mga audience na tumitingin dun sa artwork ko. Ang goal ko bilang artist, sa ngayon, bata pa ako, makagawa ng maraming painting, libo o ilan man yan. Tapos, sa paggawa ko na yun, bali gusto kong makapag-inspire din ng mas nakakabata sa aking artist. Bali, ang plano ko rin talaga na, ayun, maging makilala na artist hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, kundi sa ibang bansa rin.
The creative works of these young artists give us a glimpse of the worldview of their generation, adding not only value to our lives, but helping us appreciate the future. In our next segment, we will meet the visual artist and educator who help us shape today's young promising artists when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Juan Nathaniel Ranyola III's unique stippling technique uses acrylic, pen, and ink to create densities of points for texture and tonal values of figures. His artworks are a reflection of his poetic vision that are inspired by his dreams, thoughts, memories, and narratives he was told and he had read. A graduate of Fine Arts from the University of Santo Tomas and currently finishing his Masters of Fine Arts at the University of the Philippines, Juan Nathaniel Ranyola, fondly called Jonathan by friends, is a painter, graphic designer, book illustrator, and an educator. As an artist, Jonathan has drawn inspiration and influences from a vast number of painters, graphic designers, and illustrators, including American illustrator and writer Maurice Sendak. He has held exhibits at the Cultural Center of the Philippines and UP's Jose Vargas Museum. His talent as a book illustrator has brought him numerous awards, including the honorable mention in the 2011 and 2012 Larry Alcala Illustrators Prize of the Philippine Board of Books for Young People. His published illustrations were showcased at the Singapore National Library for the Asian Festival of Children's
When I was
Content.
younger, my dad usually magpapa-contest na kung sino yung pinakamagaling mag-drawing, sinong pinakamagaling mag-painting. And usually kami mga siblings nagko-contest and I usually win that contest. In-encourage nila ako para maging artist. Since I'm an advertising graduate, visual communications, ang focus talaga namin is commercial art. Isang focus ng visual communications is book illustration. Later na lang ako actually naging painter when someone asked me to create 19 canvases for a hotel in Makati. Advocacy is actually to promote Mother Nature. For my book, my main focus is actually to present the story of the writer. With these illustrations, I'm helping the children visualize the images and the story at ma-understand yung meaning of the story.
To date, Jonathan teaches art workshops in Bulacan. He is also a member of Ilustrador ng Kabataan, a group of visual artists dedicated in creating art for young people. In this celebration of Bulacan's visual arts, we will highlight a new art form, photography, when My City, My SM, My Art returns.
What is photography? Photography is timeless.
Photography is life. Photography is perspective.
Photography is creativity.
Photography is awesome.
Photography is a universal language.
Photography as an art form does more than merely preserve visual memories or capture a brief moment in time. It communicates the photographer's unique point of view and elicits profound emotional reactions from viewers. More than that, it speaks volumes through a complex interplay between the subject matter, light, contrast, texture, and color. With their cameras, photographers capture historical moments and reshape the way we see ourselves and the world around us in a clearer, sharper, better perspective. This is what Focus Bulacan aims to achieve. Focus Bulacan, the largest photography organization in the historic province of Bulacan, promotes interest in the craft. Because every photographer has a story to tell, they mount numerous exhibits, photography tutorials, workshops, and competitions. Members of the organization are not just professional photographers, but come from all walks of life. One thing they share together is their love and passion for photography.
Focus Bulacan is the happiest group of photographers and they're all my friends and I consider them family.
Focus Bulacan helps me to improve my skills.
Focus Bulacan helps me to gain weight.
Focus Bulacan helps me to believe in myself.
Focus Bulacan gave me the chance to show the world the way I see.
Focus Bulacan gives me a new career.
The group started back in July 2013. Members of the club are a mix of photographers na professionals na nagpa-practice na sila. And also mga enthusiasts na mga amateurs, mga hobbyists. Plans for the future? Marami actually. Plano namin is joining the nationwide contest, yung FPPF Photo World Cup ba yun? It's a competition among photography clubs in the Philippines and we are planning to get accredited later this year para by January makapag-compete na kami doon. And you know, just to gauge ourselves nationally, and it's also a learning experience for us.
Clearer, sharper, better. Focus Bulacan has widened its network by collaborating with other photography clubs under the helm of the Federation of Philippine Photographers Foundation and its Photo World Cup events. We will meet an artist who uses everyday things to create his masterpieces when My City, My SM, My Art returns. For Bulacan-based artist Rowan Capule, forks, knives, and spoons are much more than simply utensils. They are mediums to create art. A self-taught artist, Rowan Capule has been creating life-sized metal sculptures since 1998. Most of Rowan's works are found in public spaces as he is mostly commissioned to create historical monuments and shrines in Bulacan. In 2010, he decided to come up with an innovative way to create art from everyday objects such as flatwares.
Grade school pa lang ako, sumasali na ako sa mga poster making contest, sa mga slogan contest. Hanggang nung high school, ganun pa rin, ako yung lalaban ng section namin sa mga drawing contest. Tapos nang lumaki na ako, nag-aaral sa college, kumuha ako ng drafting technology. Kasi nung nagka-trabaho ako as a draftsman, andun nag-decide ako na gusto ko na maging full-time artist. Ayun nga, nung nag-resign ako ng trabaho bilang draftsman, wala akong trabaho noon, walang kita. Nag-full-time artist ako. Sabi ng father ko, itigil mo na yan, walang kahihinat nandyan, walang pera sa art, sabi niya. Pero yun nga, nung namamatay yung daddy ko, tinuloy-tuloy ko pa rin yung gawa ko na to. Eh, sa ngayon, siguro may narating na rin ako as an artist at may napatunayan na rin. Gumagawa ko ng artwork, sa una, syempre, mahirap. Iisip ka ng konsepto, isipin mo kung matatanggap ba ng tao yung gagawin mo. Pero masaya ako kasi na-express ko yung sarili ko at yung nasa loob ko, maipakita sa tao na ito ang trabaho ko, ito ang obra ko.
In his hands, old discarded metals as well as found and donated pieces are transformed into sculptures of iconic features from Filipino legend. He creates metal sculptures out of forks with full details and movement. A versatile artist, Rowan has had group exhibitions in the Philippines and abroad, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam.
May exhibit kami ng November 22 to December 6 sa Pulau Keta, Malaysia. 8 kaming artist, napili kami para kinatawan o mag-represent ng Pilipinas sa gagawing Art Ketam International Art Festival. Pinalad naman ako na mapili ng organizer ng Malaysia na isama ako sa kanyang exhibit.
Bulakenyos are so talented. We will have the honor of knowing more about the life and works of a master artist from Bulacan when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Angelito Antonio from Malolos, Bulacan is one of the most influential master artists in the modern art movement in the Philippines. He took up architecture at Mapua Institute of Technology, but on his second year transferred to University of Santo Tomas in 1958. There he met the famed Professor Galo Ocampo, who saw talent in the young Angelito, gave him a scholarship while encouraging him to join the prestigious Shell Art Competition.
My love for art. Noong early days ko, mahilig na ako talagang mag-drawing. Panahon ng hapon noon, nasa maternal home kami, ginawa ng pare kong air raid shelter namin, yung malaking table na pagkakapal-kapal, pagkabigat-bigat. Doon kami nagtatago. While waiting for this dogfight na matapos, ang ginagawa ko, meron akong dalang chalk. I start drawing anything under the table. Puro chalk liner, puro drawing na ganun. Probably, pwede ko sabihin na yun ang early manifestation na talagang meron akong love for art, for drawing, if you can call it.
As a talented young artist, he racked up win after win, bringing home 17 consecutive major awards, including a second-place win in the 1963 Shell National Students Art Competition and the grand prize at the Art Association of the Philippines in 1964. He was also included in the initial batch of 13 artists awardees of the Cultural Center of the Philippines in 1973. He also participated in foreign group exhibits, including an Australian tour of Philippine art in 1964, the first international exhibit in Saigon, the New York's World's Fair, Asia House in New York, and the tour Contemporary Art under the auspices of Cathay Airways in 1965. Antonio is known for developing his own color schemes such as acidic yellow from his black and white series. His subject has been primarily in the folk genre such as cockfighters, vendors, ice cream peddlers, and balloon sellers. He also became one of the most prestigious professors in the UST Fine Arts program. He was married to fellow eminent artist Norma Beleza and had 3 children, Marcel, Emil, and Fatima, who are also painters. Angelito Antonio's fulfillment, both professional and personally, provide an audacious example for young talents who want to pursue a career in visual arts.
Well, ang madalas nilang nadidinig sa akin, sa mga former students ko, ang lagi kong habilin sa kanila, the moment you step out of this school, try to unlearn what you have learned. If you will not do that, you will not discover yourself, yung originality mo. So the best thing for you to do, the moment you step out of college, start all over again. Maybe painful, sabi kong gano'n. If you are going to ask me kung ano nangyari sa 4 years nyo, 5 years nyo stay rito, ang dinidevelop namin sa inyo is skill and patience to work. Pag you have that kind of skill na, you have that kind of yung working habit, madali na sa yung gawin ang gusto mong gawin. Ipinta ang gusto mong ipinta. I-drawing ang gusto mong i-drawing.
Throughout his career, in his ever-evolving figurative cubist expression is a sense of element of surprise that keeps public excited and artworks breathless.
Pag may nagpa-commission sa akin na natapos yung painting, maganda, tito. Ang ganda! Maybe it's the vividness of color. Maybe yung cleanness ng execution ko, yung composition ko so clear, talagang concise. Kitang-kita mo yung clarity nung ideya, nung concept. Ano? Pag nagpinta ka, unahin mo muna yung joy mo doon sa trabaho mo for yourself. Don't worry about the market. If you feel na you're happy working on your art without thinking of the market, no? Magaling. Huwag ka magmadali. Your time will come, no? Yung success mo will come. All you need to do is work hard, work steadily, and you wait for the right time. Your time will come.
We are privileged to showcase the life and works of a Bulakenyo national artist when My City, My SM, My Art returns. Bulacan is said to be the province that has produced the most number of national artists. Amado Hernandez and Virgilio Almario for literature, Francisco Santiago and Antonio Buenaventura for music, Honorata de la Rama for the theater, and Jose Hoya for the visual arts. We are honored to learn more about the life and works of Jose Hoya through his sister, Miss Josefa Hoya Baldovino. As an artist who pioneered abstraction, Jose Hoya imagined worlds of possibility beyond the confines of tradition. In doing so, he paved the way for new ways of thinking about art and its practices, a profound paradigm shift in the realm of Philippine art. As a mixed media artist, printmaker, and multimedia artist, Hoya pioneered abstract expressionism in the Philippines with paintings characterized by his vigorous strokes of action and gestural painting. He typically made use of impasto, sweeping brush strokes, and rice paper collage in his powerful and vibrant works. The color schemes of his works were strongly influenced by the tropical landscapes of the Philippines. Among his masterpieces are Nanking, a collage rendered with Asian calligraphy and forms and patterns representing rice paddies, space transfiguration, Hills of Nico, Torogan, and cityscape. The artist is concretizing his need for communication. He has an irresistible urge to reach that level of spiritual satisfaction and to project when he thinks of his work.
Then when he went to the United States on a scholarship, he was already influenced by the abstract artists there. And abstract paintings is always on the higher plane because you have to think whatever you wish na you think about that artwork. In figurative paintings, you don't have to think, you know what it is. I mean, that's why it's called. And you can put the abstract painting anywhere, in the house, in the office. Unless you have the nudes, you cannot display that in the living room. He is supposed to be the master of abstract paintings. And he was able to influence a lot of his students to follow that style of painting.
Hoya, the son of Jose Hoya Sr. and Asuncion Tanig, was born in Manila on June 31, 1931. Under a scholarship, he entered the University of the Philippines College of Fine Arts in 1950, where he had traditionalist mentors like Guillermo Tolentino and Ireneo Miranda. Hoya graduated from the University of the Philippines in 1953 with a bachelor's degree in fine arts, earning the distinction of being the university's first magna cum laude. His artistic journey then took him to a grant in Madrid, a Fulbright Smith-Moon Scholarship at Cranbrook School of Art in Michigan, and the Pratt Institute in New York, where he finished his master's degree in painting in 1956 and printmaking studies in 1967. Hoya served as Dean of the UP School of Fine Arts from 1970 to 1978, where he modernized the curriculum and established scholarships and organized art programs and workshops all over the country. He also served as a chairperson of 2 delegations to China, 1961 and 1972, Amarsala Professional Chair at the UP in 1985, and head of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts Committee on Visual Arts from 1987 until his death in 1995.
A lot of young artists because sometimes he would give away yung mismong mga artworks niya for them to sell and get the proceeds from there. Actually, we have up to today yung Hoya Awards in Cebu. He helped establish the UP Cebu College of Fine Arts, and to encourage students from Visayas and Mindanao to enroll in that college, he established the Hoya Awards, which would give cash and medals for the winning entries. And last August, I attended the 40th celebration because we maintained that up to now.
In his lifetime, Hoya received numerous awards. The Order of Chevalier des Arts et Lettres from the French government in 1987, and one of the 10 outstanding ASEAN artists in 1992. He was posthumously named as a National Artist of the Philippines in 2003. Hoya's talent matched his generosity.
He was always called on to head some fund drives for charity. Before he died, we had a scholarship in the UP College of Fine Arts. And as to generosity, has helped a lot of people. Even his framer, he was able to send his children to college, establish a home, and even bought several transportation.
The Hoya Baldovino family hopes that Hoya's accomplishments and contributions to Philippine contemporary art continue to spark a flame for generations to come. It was Hoya's dream to bring art into the awareness of the masses. This afternoon's episode has given us the opportunity to learn more and celebrate the works of Bulacan's very talented visual artists. In behalf of SM, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, NCCA, Shell Philippines, Center Stage Production, and the Philippine Star, we wish to thank Ebony Padilla, Romel Sampana, Francis Eugene Andrade, Rowen Capule, Focus Bulacan and Jeremy Sandel, Jonathan Ranyola, Master Artist Angelito Antonio for sharing their amazing talents and making this My City, My SM, My Art at SM City Marilao possible. Our special appreciation to Attorney Josefa Hoya Baldovino for sharing with us the legacy of national artist Jose Hoya. Also to Casa Real and National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Again, this is Suzanne Kalumaya Lim. Thank you for joining me in this wonderful journey. We hope to see you again as we make a stop at SM City, Pampanga for another episode of My City, My SM, My Art.